德麦西亚视频站。视频背景音乐、选手主播天赋符文、隐藏分查询就在最强王者组，还等什么？赶快扫描二维码关注我们微信吧。
And they have Fiora, who can't AoE either, so they're very slow at killing the wave, which costs them more time. However, they started earlier on this turret, which may equalize it out.
Yeah. Splice, burning that teleport on Wonderwear very quickly, but in this early game, when you get so much cooldown back anyways, it won't be too much of an issue.
Yeah, look at it right here. These minions, they're now attacking the creeps. Look at how long it takes for Splice to deal with these creeps. These are extra 5, 6, 7 seconds that Giants don't have to spend because they just annihilate the wave with their AoE abilities. If they tank it though, nobody here is tanking the minions from Giants. This is a mistake. If you let the melee minions walk in, then obviously your minions will start fighting the enemy minions and no longer hit the tower. It goes against the entire purpose of using your abilities to clear the wave. But despite, again, despite starting this a lot earlier and being earlier on the turret, the fact that Giants can catch up in the tempo and not fail the tower kill here means they finish it equally, but there's a bigger freeze on the side of Giants rather.
Yeah. Well, by the composition, by the fact that they were able to react to that, they were able to equalize it. But as you pointed out, some mistakes being made, not allowing the minions to tank the way that they needed to. And this is what we've questioned Giants for this entire split, just not understanding a lot of the basics of what they need to do in the advanced meta.
This was a little more than a basically tricky here. Here we see the bot lane coming in, getting pinged out. So Smitty J, he wants the base. Could have maybe gotten a few extra keeps for himself. So he needs to get the hell out of dodge. And now we see phase 2 of the lane swap. Complete mirror. You go force the top laner off that farm, and the sooner you do that, obviously the quicker you have the tempo control. So now Wonderwear is allowed to farm a tiny bit extra, but they stay bang on even on CS, and so far it's a complete mirror.
Yeah, so everyone is equal, but as you said, the tools were there for Giants to do things a little bit earlier. I feel like this equalization really favors Splice, since they're looking towards that pretty late game power spike too. Take a look as they swap around to the bottom side. So Nisbeth, Kabi, they're going to be soloing or duoing on that bottom side. Still very, very slow with the early game Kalista, but they'll be pumping gold into their pockets as they go.
Wonder's behind though. Look where Wonderwear is on the map right now. So if Giants get this tower relatively quickly, Hustlin, you need to tank the creeps right now. Keep them away from the tower. And then they can use their abilities on the creeps. If they can bounce this wave quick enough, take the Rift Herald, and then set up the next push, Giants may actually be winning the lane swap, because it goes so slow here on the bottom side for Spice, because Wonderwear is so late to the party and has already burned his teleport somewhere too.
Yeah, he has taken quite a lot of time, and he was so quick on the teleport before, but without having it available again, takes a long, long walk. Meanwhile, Trashy looks to make some action happen, but Peppy immediately ghosts into the brush, and that will mean Trashy will just try for the counter jungling instead. Too bad for him. The cupboard is bare down there.
Tower falls here, Wonderwear gets the freeze. Complete mirror at the other side. And Wizard can obviously start that Herald and solo it, since he is at least solo it for a while. He will need Headstone to step in here. Getting dangerously low though, and that Rift Herald likes turning around randomly, so
like that.
Help and tank.
There you go, get the smite down, they'll take it. Still Wisdom will have to back. Sonscar is the one who gets the buff.
Yeah, right now, yeah, that's what you want. You could put it on the jungle and have him buff the creeps when he joins for the push later. So right now, Giants, they should base in their bot lane bot again and stack up a massive wave aimed at that tier 2 bot tower. That's what I want to do, because they mirrored everything, but because they had slightly better champions in terms of tempo-wise, they're equal plus a Herald buff. And that's now where they need to get the advantage of. The payoff is in the end of the play with that Herald buff.
And we've critiqued Giants for not being able to execute these lane swaps really well. I mean, this definitely looks like it's an improving team.
This is a good lane swap from Giants so far.
Yeah, maybe they finally found the special sauce to come together, play a little bit better.
Or watch spots.
Maybe.
The answer is out there. When color casters understand the dynamics, or seemingly understand the dynamics of a lane swap on a high level, that means the teams should always be ahead of the casters. So we were waiting for Europe to kind of, come on guys, figure it out. It's not that hard. If Crap on the Facial can do it.
You guys been giving lectures on the weekends?
Oh, I've actually whined to every pro.
There you go. Kabi and Trash are going to keep on going. Let's take a look at that fan vote. There is a massive, massive one in favor of Giants right now. It's 3 out of every 4 people voting. And that is pretty significant. Giants still have a pretty solid fan base on their side, but Splice, newer team to the LCS, still we would expect to be the favorites. But right now, hard to tell. The Giants mirroring just about perfectly everything that Splice is trying to do.
Yeah, mirror plus Herald buff though. Tower goes down a little quicker though, but the next wave...
It has been destroyed.
Oh, Giants, they're not pushing on. This is interesting. They're choosing to base. I think they could have pushed down with that Herald buff.
We got a good old game of chicken here. An inhibitor turret starting to go down. It's not even 8 minutes yet into the game. Kabi and Nisbeth keep on pecking away, and they'll get it down to half health. Sanstar having to dodge away from the Dark Binding.
This could have actually turned into an inhibitor race. If both teams wanted to opt into it with the Herald buff. I think Giants could have maybe made that work. But Splice, yeah. They get a little bit of extra chip damage on that tower, doesn't matter, it will regen. So again, it's a complete mirror so far. We need to look at farms and gold distribution, and the only matchup that is slightly ahead here is Senkux versus his lane opponent, XPeppy.
Yeah, well, he's got a lot of, as you said, AFK pushability with the Azir soldiers, and he dashes forward just to try to keep chasing Peppy back, take a little bit of poke, but he answers in kind. I feel like letting the Rift Herald buff, though, dissipate, forcing them to back, I mean, that was a really good move from Splice to say, okay, we know we can race this, we'll probably lose, but if we force them to back, if we make them call our bluff, you know, they get chip damage, and then they don't lose anything for it.
You know, Splice made the correct decision overall. I'm just going to check that buff actually time out. I felt like they had a little bit more on that buff to race. Yeah, the buff didn't dissipate, so Sanstar had the buff available to go for the init push. It would have been tricky. I think it would have ended up in a full-on init trade, and Giants as a team, they're not really flexible when it comes to macro. They're very rigid, so they know some of the basic first steps, but then inflexibility, obviously, if you're a newer roster, you have a hard time adapting to these unfamiliar situations, especially with limited communication. It is probably the best call to then back and defend.
Yeah, I'm playing a little bit more conservatively. Remember, they had such an insane series on Thursday that they probably don't want a repeat of that one if they can get themselves some safe wins and secure their spot in the summer split of the LCS. I'm sure they won't be complaining about that.
Yeah, but can they, though? Like, maybe they should take some risks here, because if you play safe versus safe, Splice's experience and just better individual players may come to bite you in the butt if you're Giants.
That's very true. And something worth thinking about as the game goes on. It still could be a very long series as Sanstar races to the bottom side to pick up the farm and has already picked up the package.
Missed the CS.
Unlucky.
Koreans should never miss CS.
Only Koreans. Wisdom gets caught here. Oh, he could be the first blood. He has to burn his flash, and there's the big barrel to knock the spider back. And no splat just yet. Finally delayed as Trashy picks it up.
I mean, Wisdom. That's a bold face check. Just blindly checking into the enemy jungle there. Well, that's actually littered with wards. That's even worse. There's so many wards already in that jungle from Giants. You know your AD carry support are heading to the bot lane. So in the mirror, you can expect at least enemy jungler or support to be in one of these rushes. And frankly, just no respect from Wisdom. Could have flashed earlier. Maybe use this repel somewhere to at least dodge some of that damage, but he just face check and dies.
It's not the first time we've seen Wisdom disrespect in the Copenhagen Wolves series. He stood there, started recalling under tower, and look what happened. He got taken out by the Ardent Blaze, something we rarely ever see. For Splice on their side, starting to push down a little bit more. Giants will be able to secure this dragon, though, for themselves. It's not being seen just yet, and with Wisdom coming to the party,
yeah, the control of the map here is Giants taking bot side and Splice taking top side, and that reflects obviously in the dragon here, but if you take a quick peek at the CS in the top lane, 25 differential, so double CS here for Wonderwear. There obviously will be some extra CS hidden in that wave here, but that's all about 8 or 9, and it's not going to make up the difference here. So Giants focus on the bottom side of the map. Is costing Smitty J, one of their stronger members, a CS lead at least.
Smitty, no stranger to playing Azor against the Fiora. We saw some excellent play out of him in the first games he was playing with Giants. But Wonderwear, you know, as we've said, has been able to step up in key situations. Not all the time, not frequently, but when they've had good games on the side of Splice, he's been a big part of it.
He's known to step up. I mean, once in a while.
I had to backtrack pretty fast on that one, but no, you know what I mean. When he's on point, the whole team is.
He can carry. There's this one distinct game where he was really illustrating Hook City on his Nautilus that I really was a big fan of. A couple other performances. He has plenty of lackluster performances too. But overall, he really only gets exposed for me when he plays against players far better than him. And if we were being honest, none of them are in Giants' roster. So he should be able to be absolutely fine in this game.
Yeah. Not too worried about what he'll be able to do. And the rest of this team, you know, a lot of talented players. We just haven't seen them all start stepping up. I feel like very recently, maybe Kabi, you could argue that he started to improve and make himself more visible on the map. For a while, it was pretty much Senkux or bust.
Yeah, Kabi for me is still invisible. I don't remember a single player I'm like, damn you, Kabi. Such a good player. Really outplayed him, but fills his role.
He can. Smitty. Oh, that big old wind-up.
Oh,
but they jump right in onto him. Wrong neighborhood, even though it's in his own base. Wonderware's pulled back with the hook and knocked off with the depth charge, but the rest of the team is there to help defend. Trashy knocking Hustling back into them. Wisdom trying to help defend this turret, but it is almost done. Oh, flash away. Okay, Kabi exhausted, has to bail out. Very, very low here. The piercing arrow not going to find any damage, but the change will, and the hail comes in. Now Wisdom takes out Kabi. Trashy should be the next, but the rest of Splice are here, and Peppy trying to be the hero. A double kill for the Spider Queen. See if they can get any more on this one. Still chasing down, forcing flashes from Splice, just checking way too deep, and a teleport up to the top. They're buying even more time to kill that inhibitor turret. Double kill, though, comes out for Senkux, and they turn it around, but they might lose their turret, and they might just lose an inhibitor.
Dios mio! The game wakes up into chaos. What the hell just happened there?
All of a sudden, things blew up.
Yeah, we need to look at this. This is like, okay. Speedy J starts swinging, and then Wonderware goes like, oi, Poppy, you get reposted. He gets stunned. Dragons gets knocked out. Here, I think Splice should return fire on the tower, sacrifice Wonderware, get the tower and disengage. Because look at how much they invest into defending Wonderware here overall, when they could have taken down the tower first.
Kobe tanked so much of it too.
Yeah, Kobe tanked a little bit too. Obviously switching the aggro. Here, good flank from Pepinero. Keep eyes on him, so he's going to draw aggro here from the Morgana. Going at him. Lisbeth misses bind and knock up. That's really big, otherwise Senker's going to get Peppy there. Peppy flashes out, this is good. At this point, chasing into a kiting is risky. He is low on mana, there's no cocoon here. But the turn here, 1, 2, 3, boom onto Wisdom. Soldier starts spamming, and then Wonderwave can go in with a good repost overall. But it obviously is distracting everybody because in the top lane, Sunstar and Smitty J are whacking away, and they do get that tower. Overall, somewhat equal trade. The tower advantage for Giants. Splice still have more gold because they killed more people.
Yeah, he needs to farm minions and he can farm up champs, but gotta be careful not to lose too many towers. Speaking of, this outer is going to go very low and go down, but Trashy's caught up by the chains. Nisbeth as well, and Sunstar slays him. Chasing him all the way back from the tower. Sunstar gonna valk back to safety as they will be able to secure this outer after taking an inhibitor in the top.
And that's
inhibitor turret, I should say.
That's Giants' strength. This is what we talk about in Champs League. Siege composition. When the four do get to group, they have poke magic, poke physical, Varus and Corki, with two champions that can provide extra CC that can follow up on that Varus ultimate. Once the Chain of Corruption hits, it's a very easy dredge line, it's very easy poke, it's a very easy cocoon.
Yeah.
Exactly what happened there.
Just why it's so key. Let's take a look at how it all started again with Nisbeth and Trashy getting caught. That was pretty much it.
Yeah, really good opening. When you're sieging, obviously when people want to defend towers, they operate under very standard or obvious movement patterns. They walk towards the tower and walk towards the minion creeps to kind of get the wave down. Obviously if they walk forward into a skill shot, they're going to die.
Yep. We talked gold between these two teams, and obviously it's not huge, about 1,000 at 15, 16 minutes into the game, but let's see what it's buying our guys. You can see for Peppy's side, he's still stacking the tier to look towards his Muramana completion. And first items on the top laners. Wonderware, you saw him working towards the Titanic Hydra, picks up the Phage after, and you know, Smitty J is relying fairly heavily on that armor, but it won't help him when Senkux comes to call.
I mean, it will help him a little bit. It looks like he's going for a Frozen Heart, so he wants to slow down the attack speed once he gets on top of Senkux. Poppy will obviously leave very little room for Senkux to actually auto-attack him, because he's going to E in, try and stun him into a wall. If he doesn't, he will pop his W. And then he can deny all these dashes, because that steadfast presence is so good against some of these Azir dashes when he tries to get out. So he's pretty much forced to flash out of that Senkux or ulti the Poppy away.
That's one of the reasons it was still considered for that first pick ability, and makes a lot of sense to be picking that one up. I did talk about the mid lane matchup being a really, really exciting one, but I feel like, yeah, it's kind of underrated, almost taking a look at Wonderware and Smitty J. With the lane swap, we didn't really get to see the Mortal Kombat, but maybe as the game goes on.
I mean, the mid lane is exciting if Senkux goes for some fancy shuffle footwork. If they just both up to farm, it's just a slight edge on who pressures whom. But that's about it. But that's sadly what a lot of these lanes get reduced to, because these players are good enough to avoid death in a 1v1 scenario.
That's true. But I know Senkux has the YOLO inside of him.
Maybe that excites
come
you.
out.
Are you? Is that what you really like seeing? Minions and pressure
yes,
overall?
all the time.
Is that what you look at a bot and like you see minions fight each other?
That's why I watch. That's why I watch Korea.
Well, the LCK, the Aaron Fiesta in the mid lane. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't watch LCK at all, because it may be your heart may be a little bit too frail, because the chaos may actually put you in cardiac arrest.
Okay, we'll have to wait on that one. Meanwhile, back here in Europe, I mean, this has been already a fairly action-packed game. despite the crazy back and forth lane swaps that we expect to have like a lot of non-aggression, then both the teams overstep their balance, turn on each other.
Yeah.
And it is arguably a lot more mistakes being made.
It was a mirror. It was a mirror. Aggression in Europe comes seemingly from mistakes getting punished. You're like, wow, cripple. Yeah.
Go figure.
Go figure. But it is like in a lane swap. The only time you will see people fight each other is if one team kind of screws up or gets greedy. We saw that here. Other than that, we saw a good mirror. But I'm glad to see that even promotion tournament, we're seeing some decently standard or high tier lane swaps.
Yeah, I mean teams are starting to level up all across the board now. With the Rift Herald buff, Giants looking to push in this inner. Senkux is here to defend. Wonderwear coming around the side. There's a flank being set up, and Giants know all about it. Hudson, he dredges way the wrong way, but the chains come down. Meanwhile, and Giants getting knocked left, right, and center. It's Wisdom that's bopped into the team, and Smitty J gets the knock up on the hammer, but they're not done just yet. Giants are starting to evaporate. Wisdom and Hustlin already down. Sunstar taken out by Wonderwear, and just like that, it's a 3-for-1.
Yeah, Senkux absolutely massive with the hoop and scoop in that fight, and Giants, obviously, the weakness of a poke competition is that you can't fight immediately if you get flanked on. They could have opted out, but they actually opted to the fight. Here, they need to disengage. Hustlin's like, no, I like that wall. I want to see it from a little closer. And at that point, Nisbet throws himself in. And at that point, Giants is just CC'd long enough for Senkux to turn it around. Look at it. Whoop! And cancels the Valkyrie. That was phenomenal play from Senkux overall.
Yeah. Worst part about that for Giants, though, they had an escape route through the jungle. And they opted to go through the lane and still got flanked. Senkux will answer with the tower now here, and things are starting to look up for Splice, and these are the characteristic mistakes that we saw from Giants, even with their older roster.
Only 600 gold down, though, and that could be enough of a lesson to learn. Keep your distance. Mind the gap when you play.
Good advice.
Also, when you take the tube in London.
I've ridden a lot of trains all over the place at this point. They every language.
Every language. Hopefully in Spanish, Pepinero, Korean. Koreans that
Did you say mind the gap in Korean?
I don't know how it's.
That's like super high level at that point.
I know beer. That's about the only thing.
It's a useful phrase. Useful word to know.
I know hello, how are you, thank you, and beer. That's all I know. Anyways, they need to keep the distance if they're poking. They need to whittle the opponent down so they're vulnerable enough that they can strike. That's the entire game plan. Or catch a single guy that is defending too far forward the Giants. For Splice, they need to do exactly what they did. Don't defend the tower because you don't have the wave clear. You need to flank, hard engage, and hopefully have disruption enough to punish the Giants.
I know, they've got a lot of fighting ability too. I mean, you take a look at Wonderwear, 204 on this Fiora right now, and he's been pretty instrumental in finishing off those kills and getting the chase downs. He's become Fiora, and that is a worrying sign for Giants who are trying to avoid as much as possible.
There is the QSS finish, at least in Smitty J, so you can get rid of the ultimate, but I think there's too much just raw damage here on the side of Fiora.
Peppy still trying to stack up that mana mune too. He's only 500 stacks on it. Trashy gets caught by Chains of Corruption. Peppy goes for a chase. If he gets the big piercing arrow, hits Cobby, but they manage to smite away the red buff all the same. So Trashy walks out with it. Meanwhile, up in the top side, still some trouble. Senkux in the mid is going to dash out and be safe.
Let's watch this matchup here. How much damage is Wonderwear doing? The problem is with this Fiora build is that you obviously can't switch to Ravenous anymore. So what you used to do is you whack away at the Poppy, you take damage, and then you hit the minion wave twice and suddenly you're full HP. Wonderwear has some lifesteal and regen, but he needs to be very careful to really get used to that, because obviously Titanic Hydra doesn't offer that very much. A little bit of extra heat regen, that's about it. So he only really gets it.
Still no boots. He's walking fast though.
Yeah. Well, Fiora is nimble enough to fight.
Oh yeah.
Way out of things. Worst case, you get a bit close to slow somebody down.
Cobby's Ren stack starting to get real heavy there when they start contesting objectives. Be really key for them, and they have a lot of damage output on their side. Peppy and Hustlin still here in the mid lane, I should say. A lot of wards being invested for both teams around the Baron pit, but it's very early. Wouldn't expect either team to try and start something off like that. We have seen a lot of disasters begin with the big purple worm. Pretty much everywhere this year, but of course in Europe, as is a specialty. Investing a lot of time into try and clear those wards away. Heavy amounts of movement on the top side. Splice want to keep tabs on Giants and make sure they're stuck back as far as they can. They really only possess about the 40% of the map. This war of attrition, they're slowly losing at the minute, but we know that Giants can turn fights if Splice step too far outside of their own safety zone. With the Dragon coming up in another couple minutes too. We're on 1-1. Obviously, this could be a very long game, but ever since a few buffs have come in, Dragon 5 has started to be looked at as more of a realistic objective and not just a pipe dream.
Yeah, Dragon 5 is something you can look at, but that's too far off for this game. I think it'll come down to Baron baits. Obviously, Giants, once they get pressured into their base, Spies can turn on the vision denial and punish. It's incredibly hard to face against this roster.
Oh boy, Peppy is out of there. Wonderware gets the kill credit on that one, and he is still causing havoc in the back. Flashing forward, Smitty tries to finish him off, but exhausted immediately, and he doesn't get away. The Foss Bomb from Sonstar equalizes, so it's a 1-1. In goes Smitty, but he's not gonna last for long. Senkuk says no, knocking him back. It's a 1-for-2 in favor of Splice.
Yeah, Giants equalize the fight, and then Smitty J dashes in and suicide, so seem to have issues with really judging these team fights, and Splice again, they open with a flank. They don't all come from the same side. They really find and want to connect. The good thing here is that Black Shield was obviously used on the engaging member. Watch this again. Trashy comes from one side and the Fior dashes from the other. And then, yeah, he flashes to his Peppy. And honestly, he should just have flash ready the second he sees Dragons approaching with a Black Shield. The math isn't that hard, you know. 1 + 1, 1 Dragons, 1 Black Shield means you have flash that you will die if you don't get out of there. So again, Giants are not respecting the distance, and Splice are punishing them for it.
Yeah, nimble fingers on the side of Splice too. I mean, that was over for Peppy in the blink of an eye, and they targeted their man, took him out. Really, really hefty damage on this team. 24 minutes is the game time right now. Dragon is coming up. Splice had backed after that, so they are a little bit out of position to try for this Dragon. Feel like they might be able to contest it, though, if it does get started up by Giants. 2K gold separating these two teams. Giants are going for it. Splice are not responding.
Yeah, Splice are hesitating. Do we stop it? Can we bait the Baron? Then they realize they actually haven't cleared too much vision. So they're going to walk around and trade that entire Dragon for some vision denial. And then they decide that they need to push topside in. But then the mid lane is exposed, so they're kind of trailing on the play here.
Whoa! Senkuk's, oh no! He's caught in a real bad spot. And Emperor's Divide burned and everything.
Complete disarray here from Splice. They're looking at the map and kind of figuring out what do we do now, and that's the wrong thing when you're shot calling. Your plan needs to lay it out 30 seconds, 1 minute in advance. The Giants, they see the opportunity and they seize it. Immediate aggression here. Good aggressive package usage from Sunstar into the enemy jungle and breaks a lot of momentum here for Splice.
Carpet turret sees that objective. They do grab it. Now they gravitate towards the Baron. They're just going to immediately start it. Pink Ward down. They know there's no vision, but Splice has to know something's up. A lot of damage being dealt, but they will be fighting against both Crafty and Kabi. Teleport coming in. It's Wonderware around the backside. Giants, they're still in the pit. The chains don't land, and Trashy goes in, but it's too late to secure the Baron. Wisdom getting that one. Trashy's fallen. Grand challenge on Peppy. He's not down just yet. Heal comes in with the Baron buff. They're staying alive, and Wonder is sacrificed in the back. 2 kills for 0. And Giants Gaming have come up big.
Yeah, Giants, they claimed 3 kills in total here. On top of that initial pick that they got onto Senkuks. Immediate Baron power play, skyrocketing to 3,000 already. Look at this again. Chain of Corruptions here. Early Black Shield goes onto Trashy, despite Wonderware being the target here for Chain of Corruptions. So he goes in alone, and that means it's a 50-50 smite. But the resulting fight will always be in favor of Giants. So this is a fantastic call. Zero hesitation. Honestly surprised to see this made from Giants, and they have made progression.
Yeah.
From the last 2 weeks, when we saw them in the LCS, to then the promotion tournament even 2 days ago, and now they are continuously progressing in their play.
It seems that some of the changes they have made started to net results for them. We had a lot of questions, communication. What were they going to be able to do? But I mean, that was clear and crisp. They went, and they went all together. On Splice's side, the team that speaks 2 languages the same, all Danes were really hesitant there before the play was even set up, and then Trashy YOLO's in, and he panics.
They thought they were playing in full control, lulled into a false sense of security because they were playing maybe just Giants, and then now Giants have Baron with a poke-up, and poke-ups will love Baron because the minions are getting cleared even slower, so you have more time to poke over and over.
Smitty, they're going in, and they grab themselves Trashy on the back. Wonderware's got a flash back into his own fountain. Senkuk's taking a lot of poke, trying to go in. Gets a 4-man Shurima shuffle, but it wasn't going to be enough in the first place. Giants just clean house. Only Wonder remaining. 2 inhibitors down. Hey, that won't be for long. He gets a grand challenge out, gets a triple kill. Either it's Peppy that gets that one, and now the Nexus turrets are going to fall. Giants are going to take this one.
Adios, amigo. This is game 1 going to Giants.
And that is all for game number 1. 27 minutes in, capitalizing on mistakes. Giants looking in fantastic form to open this day. 2 more wins, and they're on their way back to the LCS.
Alright, nobody make any movements towards the camera stating how many games they have left to win in this series. Avoid that at all costs. Pepinero, something we haven't really seen too much from him. A smile on his face.
And a smile, signs of relief, and very, very good reason to feel that way right now. This is one of the best games we have seen from Giants in quite some time.
Yeah.
Even including the series on Thursday. I mean, it was back and forth, a lot of mistakes, a lot of characteristic ones, some signs of improvement, but this was clean.
The lane swap is the biggest thing, because they managed to not screw up 4 towers in a row, which is honestly, for me, for Giants, and I have a pretty, I have a dark view of some teams, and I was surprised.
But high-quality bar, Crepo.
Yeah, high-quality bar, but they played the lane swap well. They picked up the Herald. They were a little slower. That's something I would rewatch, is where did they lose the tempo when they picked up the Herald? How were they slower to that Tier 2 tower? Could they have pushed down for an inhib trade? But those are minor decisions that even when I want to evaluate, or when we want to evaluate them rather, we would have to watch it again. And they made that split-second call in the game. Let's not go for any fancy stuff. Defend our inhib tower. That didn't matter in the end, because that tower regen back to full HP. And then they started playing to the strength of their composition at times, using that poke. They overstepped, but it's normal. Sometimes you will disrespect your opponent in terms of distance.
It's hard to play poke comp properly too all the time.
Yeah, it's actually not that easy to play that, and Giants did that at multiple points. And then the Baron call was crisp. Good play from Giants overall, and Splice need to work on their game plan. They need at all times, need to know what they will do in the next 30 seconds, 1 minute and 2 minutes. Otherwise, Giants may surprise.
Yeah, well, we'll see if Splice will pick up the pieces there, but we're going to send it to the analyst desk to break down Giants' Game 1 victory.
Thank you, Pyra. And much like in Game 1 on Thursday versus the Copenhagen Wolves, the Giants come out swinging. Let's take a look at their pick and bans. What did Giants evolve from Thursday, and what did Splice put against it?
I mean, to quote the dear Mithy,
I was very surprised.
Basically,
I was very surprised.
It started by going, this pick and ban phase is lost for Giants. Until we saw, obviously, the last rotation with Varus coming in against Azir and picking up a poke composition where Azir, one of his main problems is against poke. And with the Varus coming in and moving Korku to 80 carry actually saved the entire pick and ban phase from Giants.
I just thought the